Good evening, everyone. My name is Tanaka. I'm one of Africa's advocates for the electric vehicle market and green economy, also a World EV contributor and member. Unfortunately, I haven't been feeling so well. I've just recently diagnosed with a chronic kidney problem, so I've been concentrating on my health, hence in not being able to present more of what's happening in the green economy industry. The green economy industry basically is your renewable energy and your low to zero emission production. My motto this year is mission zero emission, being that we're gonna come up with ways of generating power without emitting a lot of emission. We're gonna try and have transportation without emitting a lot of emission. I've been receiving a lot of questions because people sometimes follow my posts, Facebook, all that stuff, even regarding a new company that has come through with a group of Africans coming together to bring in the green economy, which is Munesu. I only was tasked to be a consultant to bring up the brand and help them guideline on how best we can have Africa produce energy, we can have Africa have green transportation. The first question has always been Africa doesn't have enough power. We are suffering from load shedding. That is, well, what can I say is we just need to invest in power generation, which is your solar, hydro, and wind. It's just a matter of commitment and and uh, and investment. Being that said, let's have several power companies, not depend on one power company in a country. Like you have your mobile phones, you've got different service providers. Let's have that in the power industry. Creates competition, and they just have to provide the power into one grid. So what happens is in a certain area, they'll have mini grids, right? Let's say, for example, in one suburb, it'll have its own mini grid for company X. And then company Y can say, okay, fine, I also want to set up a mini grid there. That way, you cut down on power cuts. There's a lot of power generators. Power generators is basically you can have company that can produce 100 megawatts, right? And then they feed it into the grid. Once they're feeding it into the grid, they split it with the government to say, okay, fine, we've fed 60% into the grid, the 40% will go to taxes and land use and all that stuff. It's all those ideas that governments need to sit down and look at to cut down power cuts, as opposed to electric vehicles. Electric vehicles, there's cars that are providing bi-directional charging, whereby when in the event that there's a load shedding, your car can actually be a generator. So it's all those things that advantages people are not looking at. Another question that I've got is the road network. Some African roads, yes, they're not very good, but however, I actually prefer having an EV as opposed to a petrol car because the components that get affected whilst you're driving are lesser on the EV side than on the petrol side. It's I would If I want to go more technical, I'll take a lot of time. So I think it's something that you need to look into and research. And the road networks as well, it's all about investment. It's all about trying to have different service providers if governments allow that. The other question has been affordability. Yes, electric vehicles, I don't want to lie, they've been not very affordable. But I know Chinese companies and some other manufacturers are trying to make cars that are less than 20,000, less than 15,000, which is quite a reasonable price for an electric vehicle. Other option is you can buy a Nissan Leaf. We've got different technicians. You can actually inbox me about that. I'll give you a highlight on how best we can make it cheaper for you to own an electric vehicle. The issue of range, charging stations, there's plenty now. They're coming out left, right, and center. So very soon, every 50 to 60 or 100 Ks, there will be a charging station. Remember the days when the petrol car was launched and a lot of people are saying, I don't really need, I'll use a horse, I'll use that because there's not many. But look at how many petrol stations are there. And those are really sites. The company that I did consultancy last is called Munesu. They are currently placing charging stations every 100 Ks in Africa and in Europe and in America. they are currently doing that now. So